It is MarineLorD, HeRoMaRiNE, and we're going to kick this off in the top left-hand side of Lightshade for map number 1. This is MarineLorD.
And in the bottom right side of Lightshade, we're looking at the main base of our German Terran, trying to break into the upper bracket final. He has never won a brick premier event, but perhaps this is his moment, his time to shine. It is HeRoMaRiNE. I gotta say, Waddy, they talk about the stars aligning. I don't want to get too carried away because HeRoMaRiNE still has to win this one first. But if there was ever a season where I felt that Gabe could win it and crown himself European champ, I really think this could very well be the season.
Yeah, no, I can see it, right? You know, you go up into the winner bracket final. You obviously have, you know, decent opponents along the way, right? Showtime's not an easy opponent, but HeRoMaRiNE very capable of beating Showtime. MarineLorD obviously already took down Clem for you. You'd imagine a lot of the time this would be easier. Okay, Serral is not going to be easy if you make it there. But if you do get past Serral and you start 1-0 up in a grand final, that could be against someone like Clem. You know, I mean, I can see it, for sure.
Absolutely. Terran against Zerg is a matchup that I think HeRoMaRiNE is very good at the moment. I think this is a map pool where he could also show his absolute best. And in a weird way, I think it really helped Gabe that Clem started beating Serral and Raynor so often, because it kind of gives you the blueprint of like, oh, so that's what I have to do. And that doesn't make it easy, because obviously what Clem does is almost out of this world. But I think it gave HeRoMaRiNE the belief, like, wait a minute, it is actually possible as a European Terran to take out these two Zerg Titans. So I really think that Gabe has a realistic shot at winning it all this season. But first up, he's going to have to get past this man, who is playing an absolutely phenomenal DreamHack Masters fall so far. That is MarineLorD, of course. Crazy games against Clem. There is a good chance we're going to see some crazy games here as well. On the other hand, I feel Gabe sometimes is the no-fun Terran. He's just too good.
He is just too good sometimes, as we do see a little bit of a difference already in builds. Reaper Hellion for MarineLorD, and HeRoMaRiNE just says, yeah, let's just get all the add-ons. He's just going to go for that reactor and the tech lab, while obviously MarineLorD will get the extra Reaper, the couple Hellions, and generally then he will become the aggressor. But up against the Cyclone, it's not going to be easy to get a lot of damage done necessarily.
Oh, a bit unfortunate there for MarineLorD as his units leave the net. Whoa, Gabe actually not finishing off that SCV, not being, and now his Reapers are committed. He's gonna hop into the main base, could definitely get another SCV kill here, maybe even two. Waddy, can we get one? Can we get two? There's number 1. Nice grenade, I think, by HeRoMaRiNE, but not enough to get a second kill there.
Nice try, though. Definitely worth the attempt, as we do see a couple workers dead then overall. Not bad, though. The only issue I have is, okay, it buys you a lot of time with those units coming back to deal with the Reapers, but you still only have a Cyclone on this side of the map. Now, the good news there is obviously your command center might be finished, so it'll be a little bit less concerning if you do just have to defend high ground or so. Let's see how this goes. It looks though Reaper's going to hop up high ground. There's already Marines there, so good damage. One Reaper dies instantly. Cyclone realizes the Hellions will be showing up on the natural, and he's got the CC not morphing to an orbital. And I feel like that's on purpose, because he knows he might have had to save them, because he had the money to morph it sooner. Just keep play from HeRoMaRiNE, as he does need to deal with these Reapers, but the Cyclone should be able to do that. Loses a couple of SCVs, making it 3. Okay, 3 workers, but he's cleaned out all the units, and now he's got an extra Cyclone over his opponent.
Yep, he's got 2 Cyclones, meanwhile MarineLorD only has 1, and MarineLorD actually just lost everything. So now Gabe is going to fire up the medevac, and I think there is definitely some serious potential in a couple of Marines and medevac and 2 Cyclones. Imagine a world where HeRoMaRiNE gets a quick lock-on on a tank, and the Cyclones are out of range. MarineLorD could definitely be in a bit of trouble. I mean, SCV-wise, it's even dead, even at this point, because HeRoMaRiNE's orbitals seem to finish up a little bit quicker, because he did cause that delay on the CC of MarineLorD. I like this start by Gabe quite a bit. Look at the army. I know it's a bit deceiving, because a lot of units are in production, but 22 army supply against 8.
Yeah, it's actually going to be pretty serious if he can get rid of this siege tank. He takes a shot on the Cyclones, but now he gets away. Oh, he lost his lock-on, and the other Cyclone went down. Oh, that's brutal.
Yep, that was definitely a bit of a blunder on HeRoMaRine's side. You could see what was happening there. He got the double lock on, and he wants to make sure that he could space out his cyclones, because you don't want your cyclones right next to each other, because then every tank shot is cash money. But while he was busy doing that, he actually lost the lock on, then kind of panicked, then lost vision, didn't get the tank. Solid stuff there by MarineLorD. That really could have been trouble actually for our French Terran very early into this game, because if you would just go back now, you pause, you resume that from replay, there is a world where HeRoMaRiNE actually kills the tank without losing a single cyclone, and then MarineLorD is in serious trouble.
Yep, that's the situation where HeRoMaRiNE kind of just gets a lot of damage done there, and it becomes, like you say, a serious trouble, big lead, and yeah, we're talking about a very different situation to what we have now, which is HeRoMaRiNE moving out onto the map and looking pretty reasonable. Good amount of army supply, good amount of units to work with, so away we go, and let's see what he can get done with that Raven to help him take positions. He is up against double Raven defensively, though, so that will be something MarineLorD will have to lean on to help him defend this.
The tech lab is in a bit of an awkward spot for MarineLorD as he's going to unsiege his tank. Gabe is in a position where he does need to do some damage, though. Really unfortunate for MarineLorD that he just moved that tank away. I bet he wishes he had that tank there. He's going to drop an interference matrix. HeRoMaRiNE does the same thing. Vikings showing up as well, and it's HeRoMaRiNE's Vikings that shoot first, and that should allow HeRoMaRiNE to win this Viking skirmish, but he does lose both tanks. This is actually once more going pretty well. Don't forget that MarineLorD is up an entire command center. HeRoMaRiNE only starting his command center now. A couple of Marines do go down inside of that medevac. I mean, defensively, MarineLorD looking safe and sound so far. And Gabe will definitely be kicking himself for that missed opportunity with the 2 cyclones and the medevac earlier.
Oh! I don't know what that was, but that was just a move command of a tank into tank range. And HeRoMaRiNE making a good few mistakes here, honestly. Everything going wrong for him across the map, and MarineLorD just going to be licking it up and saying, heck yeah, that was fantastic for me. It really, really was.
Yep. Just victories everywhere. MarineLorD in a phenomenal position now. It's also 2 Ravens against 1 Raven, 4 tanks against 2. I gotta say, MarineLorD is impressive, right, when he's on the ropes. I feel like he's quite confident in just defending, and he's doing a really good job in staying calm under a lot of pressure, not making any big errors. He's got his 1-1 upgrades already on the way. HeRoMaRiNE does get a lock-on on a Raven with a lot of energy, and he kills the Raven. Well done by Gabe there. And that's a pretty important pickup, if you ask me, because it was going to be really hard not to take a lot of damage from this potential attack of MarineLorD.
Oh yeah, that was actually a huge pickoff, right? I mean, it was it really nullifies a lot of what MarineLorD could have done. Yeah, it's just not meant to happen either, as that is a dead cyclone. The SCVs were like, stop moving, we want to repair you, but they wouldn't have out-repaired the cyclone once it was locked on, so it was the right idea to run the cyclone away. Just a humorous moment, as otherwise we kind of get set up across the map, 1-1, well underway from MarineLorD. I think we got to say that MarineLorD's just got a very good position here after the first 8 minutes.
Absolutely, especially after he defended those 2 tanks and the Ravens and the one... Yeah, that could have been trouble, but it wasn't trouble. Earlier on, it could have been a world of trouble, but it wasn't trouble either. Now MarineLorD just finds himself in a good spot. But just like PvP, it can definitely be hard to close games out in DVT too, even if you have a little advantage, because now HeRoMaRiNE even gets his first sensor tower up. I think Gabe obviously realizes that, okay, these first 9 minutes, it wasn't all that. I'm going to have to clean up the play a little bit. Let's just sit back and let's try to get some upgrades up and running. Let's make sure we don't make any unnecessary errors anymore. As I say that, he is actually supply blocked. 4 depots at once and a command center are being built. So that's a bit sloppy, but he's still in it. It's just not looking very pretty for Gabe so far.
Yeah, no, it has been not the opening we expected, as now we have Armory finishing from MarineLorD, so he can start his 2-2 upgrades as well. And that's something which, I mean, we had an example earlier, right, of upgrade difference in Marine versus Marine between Clem and Sol, and that really sticks in my mind for MarineLorD now having currently a 1-1 lead and in the future a 2-2 versus 1-1 lead. So it's something to watch out for. He's going to load up a couple medevacs to go the other way, and I actually like that because the defense of HeRoMaRiNE around that bottom side, he's got a couple turrets, but not so to the point where you couldn't just drop into one of them necessarily, so there's potential with that drop.
There are 2 Marines that could give the heads up, but MarineLorD actually splits off 4 Marines. That's a sick play. I really love that by MarineLorD, because these now Gabe probably thinks it's just a couple of Marines on the low ground, but it's not. It's a double drop heading towards his main base. Turrets are obviously getting out a lot of shots, but both medevacs survive. MarineLorD not utilizing the rest of his army though, so he will get some damage. Gets the Vikings too, actually.
Wow.
1, 2 Vikings. Solid drop.
These Marines don't have an armor upgrade as well, so MarineLorD continue to just trade very, very well here. And going to be a big helping factor. Now, these other Marines on the bottom side are going to see HeRoMaRinE taking a 4th base too, and he's going to maybe try and swing his main army around there. That's definitely the direction he's moving in, and HeRoMaRinE doesn't seem to be moving there at all, so that 4th base looks like it might be in some serious trouble. MarineLorD stopping for a second, now making the move. HeRoMaRinE is somewhat nearby, but I just don't think he has enough stuff. Definitely not the tanks here, actually. Wow.
Nope. Well, this is going to be very difficult for HeRoMaRinE, and that's a nice anti-armor missile too. That covers almost every unit of the army. HeRoMaRinE lands his own anti-armor missile. The Viking count is in favor of MarineLorD, and that goes back to the double drop where MarineLorD was able to pick off a couple of Vikings. In the end, they're maybe a little bit sloppy, but MarineLorD still finds himself in a good position, and that's quite a few tanks in range of that planetary fortress.
Yeah, might not immediately kill it off, but forcing the SCVs to repair instead of mine is obviously a big win. And now it creates opportunities for him elsewhere. If HeRoMaRine's focusing on this defense, maybe he can do well elsewhere. Here we go, we actually siege him. Whoa, no! 3 of the tanks just unsieged from MarineLorD. I thought the other 3 tanks had just sieged up on time, and they had, but the 3 others unsieging, that was a weird play. And now these Marines are heavily stimmed attacking in too. They take a lot of tank fire. MarineLorD messes up this fight big time.
Yeah, I mean, amazing job by HeRoMaRiNE, but he got a little bit lucky there with MarineLorD on sieging. And a split second before the reinforcements started to show up. I don't know what's happening today. We have so many swings. HeRoMaRiNE is working on his own 2-2 upgrades as well. That game looked so bad for HeRoMaRiNE. And if MarineLorD just keeps his tank siege there, I don't think there is a worry in the world. And even if HeRoMaRiNE wants to take that fight before the reinforcements shows up, it's going to be a much worse trade. And then I think the reinforcements would have tipped that fight still in favor of the Frenchmen. Instead, HeRoMaRiNE gets a very big W on the board. Still not totally out of the woods because he's behind in upgrades. Does not have his tank upgrade yet either, even though it's very close to finishing up. MarineLorD is looking for maybe an opening in the natural, but Gabe is hanging in there and he's getting extra starports already. Well, it does feel that he's still under a lot of pressure.
Yep, extra starports just continuing on through. They're going to be finishing up, and with the 2-2 upgrades finishing soon, upgrades will at least be even for a little bit. We're going to be seeing Corvid reactors for the Raven upgrade coming in for MarineLorD. So he's going to have Ravens en masse, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, right? One guy goes Ravens, one guy goes Viking Liberator, and that's kind of what we're already starting to see in this game, it feels like. It seems like HeRoMaRiNE's going to focus on Viking Lib, while MarineLorD's going to tech up into those Ravens.
What's always really funny to me as well is that then sometimes you get a weird dance and then eventually the Raven player wins a fight, but then the guy who went Viking Liberator shows up with 88 Marines, and it's like, wow, pure Marines pretty good against Ravens. I remember a couple of games on that aura that I'm sure you remember too. Yeah, Gabe is now producing 6 Vikings at once. Still quite far behind on the 3-3 upgrade, but since MarineLorD is transitioning into Ravens, I have a hard time believing that he's really going to press the issue when he has that little upgrade advantage.
Yeah, that's really like the moments have kind of passed where you can even do much with it, because now there's just such a good setup, so many sensor towers, tanks in positions. Just seems unlikely we'll see too much else come out of it.
Look at the man, MarineLorD is just going from 4 to 7 bases. Whatever happened to getting a 5th and then a 6th and then a 7th base? Like, no, MarineLorD just skips all of that and goes from 4 to 7, and that's honestly kind of cool, realizing that Gabe is turtling a bit. Gabe does have a reputation of sometimes being a bit of a turtle player, and it seems like MarineLorD is taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I love to see it though, because it definitely kind of plays well against Gabe's style, and actually is something where right now he's going to get away with it, right? And why the heck not? If you can afford those CCs, you don't have anything else to spend money on. I mean, now where does HeRoMaRiNE even focus attacks? Because he go bottom left, he still has top side to mine from. We're actually going to fight here, so here we go. 3-3 did finish up, and there is the moment that MarineLorD chooses to fight. He will get rid of all these tanks, and now he's going to win the Marine fight on the right side too. He has a medevac helping out. I thought he was going to win this Marine fight, maybe not. I misjudged the amount of Marines behind that planetary, or morphing planetary. Wow.
I was totally with you. I was like, this seems like an absolutely perfect moment for MarineLorD to fight. It's a good engagement too, but HeRoMaRiNE just having the right amount of Marines there. There was a Liberator on the top side. I really wonder what happened there. Maybe Gabe pulled it back by accident. There's a couple of Liberators are home. Did he see that? No, he didn't see that. He had the... the lip right next to that base on the top side of MarineLorD, but didn't quite see that CC. And he also still doesn't know about the center base that MarineLorD has already taken. It's HeRoMaRinE is going to be quite surprised when he sees the amount of bases that MarineLorD will be mining from soon. And if I'm MarineLorD at this point, I drop all my mules on that center base, because that is a base that you are in danger of losing in maybe not the near future, but eventually. So you may as well just mine as many minerals as possible from that one while you have your hands on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is just going to be seeing HeRoMaRinE finally able to secure his 5th location without MarineLorD attacking on into it. MarineLorD struggling to re-max, but of course he's rebuilding a lot of expensive units. He's not like he's just spamming out Marines to get the numbers back up. He's happy to just take it slow and build into the air units. A lot of Vikings, another Raven or two being added in. That's his process for the moment.
The minimap is starting to look like a drawing of my brother's son. He's almost turning 3. Look, uncle.
Everywhere.
Circle. I'm like, it's so pretty, Jax. You're doing great. HeRoMaRinE does find his base in the center now, and he's like, well, you already got this. And MarineLorD was following the advice of spamming the mules on this one. At the same time, HeRoMaRinE also sees this base in the top side. And I wonder what Gabe is worried about now. Is he worried about a world where MarineLorD is even going into battle cruises already? Or is Gabe not concerned about that at all?
Yeah, no, I do wonder, because obviously MarineLorD has all these bases, right? So it's definitely a possibility. Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. As we'll see, this army to the right-hand side, MarineLorD wants to try and make something of a push here. He's got, obviously, I mean, these air armies are obviously just massive at this stage. We are talking 20-ish Vikings each. A few libs from HeRoMaRinE could do really well if they're just left to do splash damage, and that's exactly what they'll do. Anti-armor missile versus the splash of the libs. The libs really doing a lot, and they tank a lot there as well. MarineLorD actually lets his Ravens go forward to tank as well. I don't even know who really comes out of this. I think overall the Viking counts remain even, but MarineLorD gave up Ravens while HeRoMaRinE gave up Liberators. I mean, just a wild fight, but HeRoMaRinE pushes through on the ground, and MarineLorD has got to back away.
You know what was really surprising is that MarineLorD had indeed time to max out, didn't max out, but still decided to be aggressive with around 180 supply. And he's just like, oh no, I'm fine. And he had some money in the bank too, but he still felt it was the right moment to kind of push the issue. And this could actually become a pretty costly mistake, because HeRoMaRinE did kind of win that fight, and Gabe's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my tanks. I've got the Liberators. I think Viking numbers are close enough for me to take a fight on your side. Don't know how long Gabe can keep this up though, but maybe the Marines can help out and make the difference?
Maybe, but I think HeRoMaRinE is just in a bit too good of a position. He's going to keep on going forward. Next tank alone just gets targeted down. More tanks sieging, and if these Vikings win out the fight in the sky, MarineLorD could maybe land them to help out, but additional Marines show up, and that means the Vikings are going to think twice about moving down over there. And of course, I mean, you can take the entire map as MarineLorD. That doesn't matter if you can't get any units out of your base, because slowly and surely from here, HeRoMaRinE can just win this up.
It's a pretty miraculous victory by the looks of it for HeRoMaRinE. Even though he doesn't have it won yet, there is a Liberator showing up. Can the Marines get in range of this Liberator? The answer is no. And that means that MarineLorD should have some more time to get more units out, but he's definitely paying the price for that lost fight on the top right side, because he's losing 2 bases, losing a bunch of STVs as well. He's forced to remax. I mean, HeRoMaRinE is even going to try to get some more economic damage done on this base in the top side. Don't know what the tanks are going to settle for. It feels like MarineLorD is in serious trouble, because while he's taking all this economic damage, HeRoMaRinE is not taking any economic damage at all. Tanks are going to siege up in range of the planetary in the bottom center. Look at the amount of SCVs there. Exactly, go for the SCVs, HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, so many potential kills just waiting to happen as so many workers have died. MarineLorD obviously just going to keep on losing base after base as well, it would seem, for the foreseeable future. And, well, at least this Liberator is going to show up and help defend a little bit. I mean, supplies overall are kind of even, and I guess MarineLorD has so many bases that he can kind of somewhat get away with this. Is that a thing, Rod?
I mean, I think maybe HeRoMaRinE in the end got a bit reckless with all his tanks, since he just left them behind as sitting ducks for single Liberators. So I'm a bit surprised that Gabe is now still rallying stuff to the other side of the map, but on the other hand, he obviously knows that MarineLorD, his defenses are all over the place, so maybe that random spot of Marines in the bottom, while 2 tanks at the top can find some damage. But I think HeRoMaRine's getting a bit carried away. If I was Gabe, I'd be satisfied with how these last 2 minutes went and be like, all right, Let's rebuild up and let's do that all over again, but then when I'm maxed out.
Yeah, no, it's something that makes a lot of sense, and he's obviously just got his bases come up too, so he's got a lot of economy to work with in comparison to before. Yeah, he's just going to keep on pushing as well. He's actually just going to try and really remove some of these bases of MarineLorD. He does not want MarineLorD to have as many bases as he has, but hey, this is a great Liberator showing up, stopping the turret from building, going to cause a bit of chaos in the top right. That's the kind of thing that MarineLorD needs, as he also would love to hold on to this space. He's got a tank in the corner helping out. His Marines are showing up, and with Matrixes going down, he'll be able to stim into this position, which means the Vikings have to back away too. MarineLorD holds in the bottom corner.
That tank was so sick. I didn't even see the tank at first.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, big shot, another big shot, another big shot. And that really did help MarineLorD to trim down the fat on this army of HeRoMaRinE by quite a bit. And it also allowed him to just buy enough time for the reinforcements to show up. So MarineLorD keeps that base alive. And this TVT, it felt like it was close to becoming to an end, since HeRoMaRinE was getting victories left, right, and center. But MarineLorD fights back, and he shows us that he is not down and out yet. It is going to be a bit problematic when it comes down to Viking wars, as HeRoMaRinE is working on 3-3 for those Vikings, while MarineLorD is still working on his 2-2.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. The upgrades is going to be a massive game changer in this, you would imagine, as we continue through. And that does mean that HeRoMaRinE can probably just continue to eke out that little bit of extra efficiency. And while he isn't quite mining from all of his bases just yet, eventually it seems like he will probably get the chance to. So efficiency does become very important.
MarineLorD was like, hey, that tank was really sick behind that mineral line. I'm going to do it again.
It really was, wasn't it? It was. I mean, we say we didn't see it, and I don't think I saw it the right way either. I really don't think HeRoMaRinE quite realized that tank was shooting at him for the longest of times, because it took him forever to get rid of it. And I mean, to be fair, it actually really holds that position rather well, and it holds obviously the bottom side pathway into your other base. So a real cool position.
Yep. I mean, Lightshed has been around for a while, but normally we don't see too many fights in TVT around that base. In this case, it did work out. MarineLorD is being proper annoying with Liberators in the top right side. HeRoMaRinE left a Viking behind earlier, which I thought was cool. But this Viking is being the laziest Viking of all time. HeRoMaRinE made that... Oh, what is that Viking doing?
That's actually huge. He loses so many SCVs all of a sudden that it's almost like it's a problem, because he doesn't have a massive bank. It's not like you can just be like, oh yeah, well, you know, I've already mined a bunch. It's okay to trade out some workers, replace with army. No, you kind of do want those SCVs. And he will continue to build a few more up, but MarineLorD will continue to mine more and continue to build up his banks. Maybe that's where MarineLorD eventually sees victory. We'll just have to deal with, of course, larger army supplies of HeRoMaRinE on the map, because he's working with, well, less workers.
I kind of wonder, where is the army supply exactly of MarineLorD? He's got less Vikings, he's got less Liberators, he's got less tanks, and he has 4 more. I guess it's the 2 Ravens, and a lot of supplies now tied up in battle cruisers. But that's going to take so long, man. I have the feeling that there is going to be a very big fight before those BCs are ever out. I don't know if this is the right moment to transition into battle cruises. HeRoMaRinE just goes for it. It is a bit hard to force engagements the way HeRoMaRinE is doing it, but it may still barely be good enough, as HeRoMaRinE just had way more Vikings, and he had the Liberators to help out too.
Yeah, the additional Vikings definitely going a long way there. I mean, MarineLorD at least had a decent trade on the ground. His Marines actually took a better fight, because the tanks of HeRoMaRinE weren't sieged right away. They ended up continuing to run into tanks, though, which wasn't pretty, as MarineLorD continues to pull back, and now going to try and rely on missile turrets to buy him some time against those Liberators, and to just try and keep him safe as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 battle cruisers are almost out, so maybe MarineLorD will get away with it. I was really worried that this game was going to slip out of his hands before the BCs would be out. But he's got 2 out now. I actually always find BCs a bit funny, because technically having a million Vikings is very good against BCs, right? So it's like, what is the right amount of battle cruisers to have a very positive impact on a fight? How do you get good value out of them, where they can either deal damage or just soak up a lot of shots while your Vikings win the fight? It's a bit weird how they work here.
Yeah, there's so many like pluses and minuses to them. Like, yeah, lots of Vikings are great, but then the BCs can still soak all those Viking shots, and maybe that offsets the Viking advantage, but you obviously have less Vikings to begin with. I think the biggest advantage of BCs, right, is just the ability to fly somewhere, maybe a couple of Yamatos, teleport home, or even just teleport into a base and just use it as harassment to pull Vikings back home or so. That's something which we see a fair amount of the time, as we are going to see Liberators here coming through, and here are the BCs. That will force something of a response back. I don't know what that tank is firing at, but definitely can't shoot a battlecruiser, so he is killing something of his own. I just don't know what it is.
I mean, it's a big Gabe tank after all. It might just be a little more powerful than most of the other tanks. HeRoMaRinE realizing that sending everything at home to deal with 2 BCs that will just jump away is not the right call. So he splits off, by the looks of it, 8 Vikings there. Some of these battlecruisers are a bit low. I hope MarineLorD is paying attention. He is. Now these BCs are going to be low. And even though that may have felt like 3 damage, it's actually quite pricey to repair those battlecruisers that get home with 1 HP.
Yeah, as auto turrets start going down and try and help against the incoming air army, but they get shot down by tanks almost immediately, so that doesn't go very far, unfortunately. As we continue to take this trade out, it's a complete mess of a fight up on the top side. Marines want to run forward. Tanks are holding the line on both sides. MarineLorD is still staying ahead on supply, and he's got more money to work with. I think right now, HeRoMaRine's really struggling on his work account, Roddy. You know,
Yep.
it just doesn't feel like he quite has enough to comfortably get into the army he needs to win the game. Like, he can stay ahead, but it's becoming difficult, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely some mineral patches that he's not mining from that he could potentially be mining from. He's going to try to make up with it with just mules. He's got 5 orbitals. I mean, maybe 47. Okay, he's going to build 8 SCVs at once. So he agrees with you. I wouldn't want to see him go up to 60. I actually think that 55 to 60, I think that's the right amount. There's really no need to go up to 70 plus SCVs here.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have places to put them anyway.
That is very true. I think one thing to note, by the way, is that MarineLorD's now trading more efficiently than HeRoMaRinE. So that's something that's changed recently. Some of these fights going better for MarineLorD. And considering MarineLorD was maybe mining out a bit faster too, maybe that comes into play at some point where he just does run Gabe dry that little faster, or Gabe struggles to keep on mining. I don't know. There's so many ways that this can go. There's so many possibilities. As once again, here in the European playoffs today, we have just got some epic games.
Yep, HeRoMaRinE is sending a handful of Vikings towards the bottom to push those battlecruisers home. And at first I was like, I actually think the battlecruisers can get some decent fights there. I mean, you're talking about trading efficiently. That's obviously where Yamato cannon shines the most, right? You land the Yamato, you teleport home. It's a free kill over and over again. MarineLorD feels that he just has way too many SCVs, as he was still 70 plus, and he realizes it's going to be hard to win a fight if you're down 30 or 40 army supply. So he loses them, queues up 4 more BCs, but immediately things are starting to become aggressive too.
There's going to be seeing BCs lining up. Yamato takes down something. Anti-arm missile strikes from HeRoMaRinE, but also from MarineLorD. But now these BCs getting shot down immediately. Auto turrets going down on mass to try and help out. I mean, anti-arm missile would make the BCs do so much more damage, but then you actually have to get the BCs into the fight. And that didn't quite happen right there.
It's very hard to get BCs on top of 28 Vikings. I think MarineLorD is in a bit of trouble now. He has so much supply tied up, and then he still has 25 free supply, which means that the actual armies that are staring each other down here, that has to favor HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRine's got way more Vikings. It's 25 against 16. MarineLorD needs to buy some time. He's not buying himself any time if he keeps running into the army of HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see the next 4 BCs about to pop. These couple of libs gets rid of 1. That's the problem, though. The libs put so much pressure on MarineLorD to come forward and to shoot them down. Otherwise, his tanks are going down. And obviously, that is no good. You don't want that to be happening. So, yeah, a bit of a weird situation still playing out here. As HeRoMaRine's going to try and swing around the other way. Another group of, like, long building units on the way from MarineLorD that just won't be on the map for a little bit. Those Thors now being brought into play. As, he nearly loses a couple of tanks to a couple of shots. And that's the kind of thing you need to be really careful about as well.
MarineLorD hasn't found any way to deal damage economically or to the infrastructure in quite some time. But I just kind of like his army, as we do have some anti-army missiles go down here. What are the Vikings shooting at? 1 or 2 Ravens in the front. HeRoMaRinE has 27 Vikings. And yeah, BCs are great and all, but I just don't see them getting on top of these Vikings. It just feels that HeRoMaRine's army is better. And you talked about it, Wardy. That is so much supply tied up in production facilities for MarineLorD. You can't be winning fights if you're building 2 Thors, 4 Vikings, 10 Marines, and 2 battlecruisers.
That feels like it's been MarineLorD's issue for a long time, that he's never quite had everything just out and ready to go. It's always been building. And because HeRoMaRine's never had any of those super long building units, it just feels like he's always had that army in comparison ready to go. So it definitely feels like it's made a bit of a difference, as you do have, well, all of those libs continue to set up around the top side. We are going to continue through the center. MarineLorD trying to get set up. as we have got ourselves. Well, HeRoMaRinE just continue to press on in. MarineLorD's building Marines, and so is HeRoMaRinE now too, as they both realize they're going to have like a mineral excess over gas soon. So starting to introduce those Marines already. This Thor, these double Thors are putting in work, Roddy. They're killing off a lot of Vikings, but is it enough to make up for this? More SCVs are just walking into this fight as well.
I'm afraid not, because there's still a lot of Liberators too on the side of HeRoMaRinE. He's got 6 of them out on the map, and these Liberators will force the Thors to run away. MarineLorD at this point, the only gas income he has is from the center base in the bottom. All the other refineries are mined out. There's still one in the top that has 300 gas, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep that base safe, unless HeRoMaRinE just doesn't give a damn about it. It's going to be problematic, because I feel like it's too early to be like, all right, we're going back to nothing but Marines. Because you look at this army of HeRoMaRinE, and you look at the amount of gas that HeRoMaRinE can still mine from. Gabe ain't settling for that. Like, oh, yeah, let's just make it Marine against Marine again.
Yeah, he has a lot of gas compared to what MarineLorD has to mine still. So that probably will be a bit of a game changer as Marine army here. Yeah, kind of a step back a little bit in this game. Here we go. We're just going to fight in, but it means fighting into tanks kind of on both sides. I mean, all the Marines get blasted down, and unfortunately, MarineLorD doesn't seem to have very much left at all. These tanks will go down too, and that will more or less be his last stand of a defense.
We just had a almost game-deciding fight where there are 6 battle cruisers sitting on the left side. 2 of them are low on HP, but that's a lot of supply, Wardy. And I'm not going to say that 6 BCs would have won this fight, but they got to be doing something else than hovering above a refinery that's maxed out. Or
I think you just forgot about them. I mean, it doesn't seem right that they're just chilling down there, not doing anything still.
That's a lot of supply to forget about.
I know. But they're still not doing anything, right? They're just sat there. They're just chilling. Yeah. That's not good. I mean, he's even sending the SCVs to fight before the battle cruisers. I don't think that's how it's meant to work.
Yeah, I mean, once more, I don't think that 5 or 6 BCs there make the difference, but that's still a lot of units and it's a lot of supply. Maybe they could have jumped on top of the main base of HeRoMaRinE, create some chaos, and maybe that would allow HeRoMaRinE to take a slightly better fight. MarineLorD is going to stim in with all his Marines. All the Vikings will land, and MarineLorD will just tap out, realizing that this is not a fight he could win. BCs, they were forgotten about. How do you forget about them?
Yeah,
you forget about 6 battle cruisers?
It's like, man, remember I built all these BCs at one point. Did they just die? You like teleport them away and just like not remember you teleported them or where you put them? I mean, yeah, that's one of those times where I feel like the F2 army button might be kind of the one you want to press, because 6 BCs would make at least something of a difference. It might not turn the game around, but you gotta at least try with them. You can't just let them sit there and do nothing.
Even if it wasn't for that final fight that kind of took place in his natural, but maybe some of these skirmishes before, while you still have the Thors on the map as well, because then it's like Thors and battle cruisers. That's a lot of very high HP units, and maybe then the reinforcing Marines that he was going for, because he did have that mineral bank, they could actually make the difference if some of those big mech units fell. Overall, a very wild game that I felt MarineLorD was absolutely winning at one point when he was starting to siege on that planetary at the bottom. That got a bit unfortunate on siege right the moment that HeRoMaRinE wanted to attack and right before his reinforcements showed up. But then the game went on and we had that big fight on the top right side that I think was technically a very doable fight for MarineLorD if he would have just brought all his units there. But he didn't max out, which felt like it was on purpose. It was kind of just trying to figure out what is the right unit to make exactly. But then exposing your expensive Viking raving army on the other side of the map while you're still trying to figure out what else you want to build, I think that's a little bit risky too.
Yeah, it was a bit of a rough one. I really just think of that bottom side fight where the 3 tanks on siege, and it doesn't make any sense for those tanks to be on siege unless you like wanted to get closer to the planetary. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of, and it was just such an unfortunate moment and it was almost like so quick as well, because the other 3 tanks had only just started to siege. I was like, oh my goodness, they just sieged in time. And that's when I saw the others on siege. I was like, no, you're kidding me, right? And yeah, I mean, that was a push that MarineLorD could have won the game with. And I gotta say, HeRoMaRinE played a beautiful game from that kind of, from those early stages. And I think that's something to look at going on in this series, that MarineLorD had a lot of chances, but HeRoMaRinE was the one to shut them down, turn the game around, and just really put it into his own hands. And yeah, even though he had maybe a weaker early game, MarineLorD's defense was good. You don't need to be aggressive if you can play a game like that. Just let it play along.
Some German efficiency coming out of Gabe, putting every single unit to work, while MarineLorD often forgot about a couple of units, or just so much of it was building. And these games are hectic. There are a lot of fights taking place, and you may take a look at your supply. You're like, cool, I'm maxed out. But having 200 supply, if 40 is in production, I mean, 40 is a high number, but at one point it really was close to 40. Yeah, then you're actually nowhere near maxed out. There were definitely opportunities for this man. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to close it out. Let's see what he's got in store for us here on Blackburn. It is Le French Terran player MarineLorD.
Down in the bottom left-hand corner, it's our red Terran, HeRoMaRiNE.
Such a wild TVT, a very long one. I feel like we were also kind of waiting for that one fight where the BCs would have an impact, right? We know that if they just stay at range against someone with 28 or 30 Vikings, it's going to be hard for BCs to be very, very impactful. But if you can get up to 6 or 8, then there is maybe that moment where MarineLorD is actually the one who engages, runs in with Ravens, auto turrets, anti-armor missile, his own Vikings, and then bam, the BCs jump on top of it. Then obviously you're super committed to the fight, but that's probably the best way to really get value out of your battle cruisers.
I mean, when those Vikings have anti-armor on as well, battle cruisers will shred because of how fast they attack. So every single one of those attacks has, you know, less armor to go through, so they do more damage. That's what we want in that.
Sorry. Yeah, I was like,
you thought you were just going to build a gold or something?
I don't know. I feel like I was like, Gabe, what are we doing here? Just checking for some proxy boxes. No, I was actually watching at your BC analysis because you're spot on. BCs attack even faster than Steam Marines. Is that true or not?
It's super quick. I think they attack something like 10 times a second or something.
So then
Feels
doing
like it,
plus
anyway.
2 attack. Yeah, no, they attack real quick. Absolutely.
I'll find out.
Yeah, BCs are funny units because they can be very good and they can also be a bit underwhelming. But well, unfortunately for the Frenchman, it didn't quite work out. He did play a great game where he absolutely got himself in a position where he could have won it. But it also could have gone in a completely different way if HeRoMaRiNE didn't mess up early on with the Cyclones and the Medevacs. Perhaps a bit of nerves.
Times a second.
And then if you have 6 of them, that's 36 attacks that all deal 2 damage more than they're supposed to deal. Adds up.
Yep. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, that's like a Viking extra every second or something. That's kind of ridiculous.
For sure. So MarineLorD built his CC in his main base. HeRoMaRiNE decided to just build it on the low ground. He is not afraid. We see another command set to go down for MarineLorD immediately. We'd often talk, or at least sometimes talk, about mech on Blackburn in TVZ. Do you think there is a chance that we'll get to see MarineLorD bring out some mech here on TVT as well, or in TVT?
Yeah, I think it's a really good map for mech because it's just one of the. It is just like a split map sort of map, right? It's so easy just to cut this map in half, and that's what mech is great at, right? So, 100%, I'd be shocked if we didn't see MarineLorD play mech here actually. Yeah, Marine tank can work in a similar way, and you can split map with that. But someone who likes playing mech, who's obviously comfortable playing mech. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't bring it out in this game.
I mean, maybe the fact that you just had a 35-minute banger on Light Shade in Brazil. Any of us is only capable of playing those kinds of games X amount of times in a row, but I think you're right. We'll see. And I'd love to see how HeRoMaRiNE goes about it if he does go up against mech here. I feel normally Gabe is just so good. He's so smooth in his transitions. And I think back of a game in the War Chest Team League, the one that you ran, where my boy Bunny went up against Gabe and he decided to play some mech, and Gabe just made it look easy, man, on Death Aura. Also a good map for mech. Gabe is like, nope, that ain't gonna fly against me.
No, I can... that's what I was talking about in the pre-show too, right? I don't think I've ever seen HeRoMaRiNE struggle with like a style like that, whereas I've seen Thermal bully Clem around with mech and stuff, you know, and Clem be like, you know, over-aggressive, attack in too soon. You know, he feels like he can fight it, but you can't. HeRoMaRiNE doesn't have that tendency about him, it feels like, and so it's just like, you know, he's just like, yeah, this is fine, it's whatever. I just wait. I'm very happy to wait. I don't feel the need to attack. You know, if Clem, you know, Probably doesn't feel like he's playing StarCraft if he's not attacking. So
Exactly.
maybe one of his biggest faults.
It's a completely different approach. Like Clem is trying to out micro tanks with marauders and putting them in slightly different lines so the tanks only fire at like one marauder at a time, and he's microing his heart out. And meanwhile, Gabe's just sitting there at home. He's like, oh yeah, this is where I get 3 more starports and get liberated. So like, Clem is like, what? Is that easy? It's like, what about micro your bio units? Like, and then Gabe's like, completely unnecessary.
The voices are so spot on, Roddy. Yeah, no, I mean, as this additional push comes in, by the way, HeRoMaRinE, I feel like this one's one where he's maybe trying to bite off a little bit more than he can chew. We talked a bit about last game, right? The idea of like the 2 Cyclones, if they got in that tank as well, that could have changed the game even earlier. This is this, but there's just so much from MarineLorD. It feels like surely not. HeRoMaRinE has a massive army already, though. 44 to now 35, but a lot of that 35 just started building out of MarineLorD.
Interesting. I mean, HeRoMaRinE has 2 Ravens as well, but he also has Vikings out already, while MarineLorD is working on his first 2 Vikings. Like, MarineLorD is a bit distracted in dealing with these Cyclones that are now just going for the merry-go-round. They're going to swing the other way around. MarineLorD needs to bring that 1 tank back exactly the way that he's doing it, but it's going to be Gabe who drops the other turret first, and that's normally going to favor HeRoMaRinE quite a bit. This looks like a really good fight for HeRoMaRinE, if you ask me.
Absolutely, Roddy. This is a complete cleanup with tanks left over. 3 third base to pick away at here as well. And that is just one you don't really recover from easily as MarineLorD, who has 1 tank on this high ground, but that's going to be seen. It wastes a shot to the low ground initially as well. Auto turret versus auto turret. SCVs pulling in. Vikings will land to fight those SCVs, and I don't think these tanks are dying.
This is game-ending damage. MarineLorD knows it, and he is forced to tap out 7 minutes, way before the mech hype train even was ready to roll out of the station. That is German efficiency once again. I saw that final tank 2 of MarineLorD that did siege up earlier, so maybe it could have gotten some good shots off, but then it shot at the Cyclone or the Marines that was in that middle line at the 3rd base. Gabe just... doing Gabe things. Gabe making it look easy. This I gotta say, really well done. Just being a nuisance. At first you're like, what are you trying to accomplish with your Reapers and your Cyclones here, Gabe? Like, why are you microing your heart out to kill 1 Marine? But it forced MarineLorD to actually position his units a bit further north, and that just allowed Gabe to send all of his units through the center of the map and immediately get into a good position, and MarineLorD not being quite ready for it. Gabe is Gabe, man.
Gabe is Gabe. No, that was kind of what we expected. You know, this reminds me of just like peak HeRoMaRinE, right? When he's winning all of the ESL Open Cups and he's just having like, he's not dealing with anybody's nonsense. You want to play mech? Oh, go, you know, give me a break, man. It's Blackburn. We just played 30 minutes. No way. I'm just gonna, you know, I'm done with this before it even begins. Let's just get into like the next one, shall we? Yeah, it's just got HeRoMaRinE written all over it.
On the weekly, they're like, Roddy, are you not casting HeRoMaRinE versus X? Why are you focusing on Mixu versus Aquarion? I was like, because I know how Gabe games look, okay? He sits at home for a couple of minutes, rolls to the other side of the map, and he wins. We'll do Gabe when we enter the semifinals or the finals. Now, obviously, here we are in the semifinals of the upper bracket of the DreamHack Masters. HeRoMaRinE was definitely in trouble more than once in Game 1. But in Game 2, he just dismantled the build before the build even became a build. Very impressive stuff. However, we are hopping into Romanticide, and no game is ever allowed to end before minute 24 on the Romanticide. So let's see what these 2 awesome Terran players have in store for us. In the top left side, we're looking at the main base of the man who just peaks in fall. 6-1 in his group. And he beat Clem in the quarterfinals of the upper bracket. But he needs to turn it around here. This is MarineLorD.
In the bottom right-hand side, powered by the Rotty prediction at this point, I think it is HeRoMaRinE.
I'll be real, I thought that prediction was dead and buried in Game 1 more than once.
Yeah. Well, I also have a lot of games have been like that today, though. So it's the day that just keeps on giving, even when games are meant to end, they don't.
Especially Clemsol. It's like, oh, that went 3-0. Like you guys may have joined us a bit later, and then some of you guys have to work. Wait, what day is it actually? Is it the work day? It is,
Friday.
right? Yeah, people work on Friday, I believe. So some of you guys may have joined us a little bit later and be like, oh, are the games worth watching? What you've missed? Well, believe us when we say that Serral versus Rainer was the least exciting best of 5 so far. I think that is fair to say. As Skillers against MaxPax was absolutely bananas. 2K Atmosphere, probably my favorite game of the tournament, even though I'm not allowed to say that, because I know it's supposed to be the TVT, but I didn't see that one live, and then it's different. I did see the PvP live. What a game that was.
That was actually crazy, man. It was just freaking awesome. Almost, I can't believe that was today, actually. You know what I mean? It feels like today's been so many kind of cool back and forth games. It's like, wait, that was today as well, that PvP. Yeah, that was a thing.
Oxide was quite spectacular too. Just an amazing best of 5 between those two young Protosses. And Clem against Sol. If you think you missed nothing because Clem won 3-0, you're wrong. Even Clem thought he was 100% dead in one of those games. So go ahead and take a look at it if you missed it. Must watch StarCraft. I think that's fair to say, right? We can give it the must watch stamp.
If I had to describe Clem Sol, I would say Clem won the series while being 1-2 down. Because it was kind of a bit like that. And one of the games was a bit closer, but the other game, like, there was, yeah. You just got to watch it to believe it. Like, I would tell you guys, and you'd be like, no, Wardy, that didn't happen. But it did.
And then MaxPax obviously was an absolute beast, getting a 5-0 in a best of 5. So
yeah.
we had that going down too. MarineLorD hops into the main base of HeRoMaRinE with 2 Reapers and realizes that he doesn't want to stick around too long, as there is a Hellion. A HeRoMaRinE. That's the first HeRoMaRinE we see all day? Question mark?
No, we saw HeRoMaRinEs in the... Oh, no, I'm thinking of yesterday while I was casting. Never mind me. All the days are melding into one now, Roddy. I guess so, because obviously we only had TVT earlier as well.
And I do not recall a single HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, I do not.
So first HeRoMaRinE, 6 TVTs in. HeRoMaRinE is going to distract MarineLorD in the natural order. The Reapers hop into the main base. And 3 Reapers kill SCVs real quick. Oh, this already seems like a pretty sweet start for the biggest of Gabriels, who just seems to be getting further and further ahead in this entire best of 5. My goodness, what is 7 kills.
You're not meant to get 7 kills, and he's just got an army behind it as well, so he's not under any fear of a counterattack either. It just feels as though we're already starting to see... I mean, it's Romanticide, so a game can go on a long time on Romanticide, even when someone's behind, but yeah, this is going to be a Widowmine kill on a Reaper as well, at least, right? Maybe could have retargeted and tried to get a Cyclone.
Yeah, but it had to be retarget to the other Cyclone and then retarget to, first retarget to the other Reaper and then retarget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think then we're asking for a little bit much because it's obviously a bit awkward with the side blockers. But if anyone could do it, it has to be the biggest of games.
Yeah, I believe, man. I believe in Gabe enough to do that, as we do have these couple of Cyclones being annoying, but now the tank is sieged. It should be safe enough. There is a world Cyclones can dive in, lock onto the tank, and get out before taking a second shot and dying, but... I don't know if I want to risk it at this point. You know, you're down 0-2. I just feel like those are the sort of things you can't, afford to go wrong. Then again, he's already behind a bit in this game, so maybe he needs the risks.
Yeah, sometimes high risk, high reward kind of move absolutely could bring you back into a game. I'm just smiling because you were thinking the exact same thing as I was thinking with the Twitter mind. But then I'm like, okay, now we're getting carried away because it's like retarget between 2 Reapers that he didn't even see coming. And then retarget to his Cyclone and then kill it. I'm like, yeah, okay. On the other end, Gabe is up 2-0. He's 1 map away from making it to the final of the upper bracket. And I don't think HeRoMaRinE has ever been top 3, right? Or has he?
Oh, top 3? I'm not sure. He's obviously been top 4 before. Top 3, I'm not 100% sure. I'll do some checking. Give me a sec.
All right. You go ahead and check because you're actually quicker at that kind of stuff than I am. I do it the hard way. I go through 5 pages of Wikipedia while I know there's an easier way to see it. MarineLorD is trying to macro up a little bit. He does have that second starport. That's actually something we absolutely should have mentioned. I apologize, guys. We were fantasizing over a Widowmine retargeting to another Reaper to then kill a Cyclone. But MarineLorD is going for the double starport. Now, I remember a certain TVT very vividly on Jagannatha. I just don't remember who played. But this actually worked out brilliantly because one Terran was pushing into the other Terran. It was 2 base against 2 base, but then the second starport really came in clutch. I don't think it's going to come in super clutch here, at least not defensively, so it's going to have to be offensively, Waddy, because MarineLorD is still on 2 bases while HeRoMaRinE is on 3.
Yeah, absolutely. HeRoMaRinE 3 top 4s, by the way, over the 5 seasons so far, so that's pretty sick, but never top 3.
Oh, so always top 4?
Always top 4, always 4th place.
Esport history, if he can hold here, man, because then if HeRoMaRinE can hold here without taking too much damage, he finds himself in an absolutely amazing position. We don't expect too much aggression on the Romanticide. I said it's not legal for games to end. Decent scout there. Does HeRoMaRinE have enough time to get in position? I kind of think he does, but it's still going to be awkward because he's heavily down in Vikings. The other turret for HeRoMaRinE go down a little bit later. Is it good enough for MarineLorD? I am afraid the answer is no, because my goodness, that is a lot of tanks on this side of Gabe.
Talk about brute force, and MarineLorD didn't even siege up his siege tanks there. GG and good luck as he taps out, man. It feels like MarineLorD gave absolutely everything